Hi, I'm Lonnie Furbank with Remodeling TV. Today I'm here in Northwest Washington, D.C. on the site of a custom basement remodel. The remodelers had a series of challenges to overcome during the project, so I'm going to talk with Michael Sari, the owner of TriVistaUSA, to find out how he faced them.
Hi, I'm Michael Sori from TriVistaUSA, a design build firm here in Washington, D.C. I want to talk to you a little bit about this remodel that we're doing. It's a basement remodel, so not typical for us, and even less typical for us is the client is in Beijing and the architect is in Paris. So with this particular residence and with the clients that are our client who's going to be living in the basement when she's here in town, and then her tenants upstairs, this home has to function as it's functioning. Also with egress, because there's two completely separate certificate of occupancies, we had to separate all the utilities. So two completely different HVAC systems, two completely different electrical systems. So all the electrical had to move upstairs for the top 3 floors of the house with a whole separate electrical system for the basement. So we've had to keep the tenants in the entire time. So you see there's kind of spaghetti of wires is because we can't, obviously they need to still be here. In fact, if you look over here, we have the hot water heater that we've had to keep running up until very, very recently. So this architect is asking us to meet very, 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 very tight tolerances when it comes to maximizing this space in the basement. So we're actually using 3 different materials to frame. Pressure treated for everything that's going to meet any concrete or similar surface that would have to be per code. Framing lumber, because we are trying to get every surface level and plumb, so we're using framing lumber for the ceiling, but for the walls, to keep them as thin as possible, we're actually using steel. The architect is specifying some custom interior windows, so they don't have to meet the same set of guidelines that exteriors would have to meet. But essentially we're using some custom angle iron and window glazing to make up these windows. There's a clear story window between the shower and the main living room area, and some other windows that'll make up some architectural details. Decidedly Parisian. And then on the other side, because the client is Chinese in her history, there's a lot of that influence in terms of how things are decorated, the door details. A lot of the decorating is Eastern as well. So there were 2 challenges with them wanting heated floors. Number one, there's no way that we could put it on the old basement floor. It was incredibly nowhere near level, so that really had to be completely redone, and we would lose a ton of ceiling height by the time we added what we needed to for the floor itself plus insulation. So we actually removed the entire floor, dug down 4 or 6 inches, added gravel, added styrofoam insulation, and then put the heated floor in. So egress in a historic property like these, especially for a basement apartment, life safety is very, very important, but DC Historic has a very, very, very strong influence on how things are done. One window that is here occurring on site qualifies as an egress window, so that one window was our only chance to meet those requirements. It was a challenge to make it so that she'd have usable closet and have enough room to get that 5.7 square feet and be protected with bars on the windows. So every dwelling, every bedroom has to have 2 means of egress. So the door out of the bedroom would be one, but usually it's a window that has a minimum square feet of 5.7 square feet to be able to get out, or a firefighter to be able to get in. So for us, there's also a height requirement, because in a basement, usually the windows are higher. So in fact, DC allowed us to build in a step, which is unusual, but that's how the Historic Society and DC Code were able to come together. So we've got a step in front of an egress window. In the remodeling industry, one of the things that we have to get right for all of us remodelers is communication. I mean, here we are in your home doing this work, oftentimes while you're living there. In this case, not while our client's here, even worse, her tenants are here, very apt to complain. They don't get anything out of this remodel except that they have to live through a bunch of dust. So yeah, communication is difficult because in fact, the client, because of the time zone in Beijing, they're exactly 12 hours ahead. So it's very hard to catch up. So we're using not Skype, but we're using email. They seem to really like that. I thought I got into remodeling to build beautiful things. Apparently I got into remodeling to do a lot of emails back and forth. But it's good and it's effective, and we try to really have these daily updates. One nice thing is that because of smartphones, we use iPhones here in TriVistaUSA, we get to take pictures and send them right away and get almost instant feedback, or at least in a couple hours. So in some ways that's kind of better. The other thing that we have done is Dropbox is a free service that you can sign up for. This project has its own Dropbox account for us. And so it's accessed not only by all of the players we've talked about, the client, the architect, my entire team, whether it's production or design or selections, but in fact all of our subcontractors. The electrician has been invited to view his electrical specs, the plumber his specs, HVAC his specs, and it really keeps everybody around one central hub of information, keeps that all unified for us.